Ladies and gentlemen, what is up? It is Sam Moses here. Some of you know me, some of you do not. For those of you who do not know me, a little bit of background. For the last decade, I have worked as a corrective exercise professional, which is to say I use different exercise modalities to help my clients eliminate pain and enhance function within their bodies. Now, throughout that professional journey, I have realized two things. Number one, most pain is completely preventable, or if you already have pain, it is correctable. We can get rid of it one way or another. The second thing I've realized is that there aren't any resources that make that process simple to understand for the average person. For the most part, you get overcomplicated systems trying to sell you too many tools and dreams. What ends up happening is nothing. It's too hard to understand, so you remain in pain. That's why I'm incredibly excited to announce that I have come up with a company that solves this issue. My company, UltiROLLER, has the goal of creating a complete system of both tools and education that make it convenient and affordable for the average person to fix their body on their own time. I don't want you to spend a fortune going to a physical therapist or a trainer when you are more than capable of resolving your pain on your own time. Now, our system revolves around a concept called mobility. And mobility is simply the idea of using foam rolling, stretching, and joint repositioning techniques to restore balance to our bodies. When we have pain, it's usually the result of a musculoskeletal imbalance causing undue stress on muscles and joints, which over time result in pain. Using different mobility drills, we can restore balance, which is going to eliminate that pain and also improve our physical capacity. For our launch, over the next week, I am going to be releasing a series of videos with the goal of demonstrating exactly the tools that we have available to you, as well as the education that we want you to use, how simple it is, how easy it is for you to use by yourself. Now, to do that, we are going to demonstrate different techniques for resolving hip pain. To begin today, we're going to go over foam rolling. Later in the week, we'll go over stretching, and finally, we'll do a joint repositioning technique. So, please strap in and get ready for your body to feel much better. A quick change of clothes and we're ready to go. Okay, so, as I'm sure most of you have seen, this is a foam roller. Also, through my experience, I'm sure that you have probably never been instructed on how to use this properly, which is a travesty because this is one of the most effective tools we have for self-restoration. So let's talk a little bit about this foam roller and what it's all about. So a foam roller is a tool for what we call targeted pressure release. That's exactly what it sounds like. It's when you use pressure in a targeted area of muscle to get that muscle to release spasm, okay? Now, when we talked a little bit about muscular imbalance, well, part of that muscular imbalance is when we develop an imbalance, certain muscles have a propensity to tighten up, spasm, and contract. That by itself doesn't feel good, but it also limits flexibility and will start to yank at our joints. So the idea behind targeted pressure release is using pressure to get that muscle to release spasm, which is going to feel better in the muscle itself, and then also limit wear and tear on joints. Now, today we're going to talk about the foam roller, but in our UltiROLLER kits, we have a couple different tools for this targeted pressure release. So for more specific areas, we have our lacrosse ball, and then specific to the spine and ankle region, we have our peanut ball as well. But once again, today we're going to talk about the foam roller itself, so let's get to that. Now, as I said, we're going to cover the hip. Well, when we have hip pain, a very typical occurrence is that our hip flexors will contribute to that. Simply put, our hip flexors, the front of our thighs, will start to spasm up, get a little bit shortened, and then that hurts itself, but then it will also affect up at the hip. So today I want to talk about using this foam roller to release our hip flexors, which in turn will make our hips feel better. Where we're going to start is with a roller on the ground. Now, once our roller's on the ground, I want to start right below the pointy part of our hip. Okay, so we're going to be on the front of our thigh, our quad area, and we're going to get the foam roller right below this pointy part, and that's where we're going to begin. So, right below the pointy part of the hip, the next thing we're going to do is slowly roll through that musculature. Now, as we do this, I want you to focus on looking for areas of sensitivity. Without getting too technical, When we're rolling through a muscle and all of a sudden we feel an area that's a little bit more painful, that is called a trigger point, and that's going to be the focus of where the spasm is in that musculature. So if we're rolling through and all of a sudden we feel, oh, that spot feels a little bit junkier than the rest, that tells us that we are in the right place. So once again, I'm below the pointy part of my hip. I'm going to slowly roll through my quad, and boom, right there. It's a little bit more sensitive. Okay, that tells me I'm on a trigger point. That tells me I'm in the right place. Once we find that trigger point, we are going to stop there. Okay, this is the area that's affected. This is the area we should work on. So once I'm stopping on top of this, the next step is going to be to relax. Because guess what? If I get on top of that spot and all of a sudden I start to tense up, we're not going to fix anything. Okay, so our next step is going to be taking some deep breaths and relaxing our quad, our hip flexor, as much as possible. I recommend 5 to 10 deep breaths, but really just as much as you need to make sure that everything is releasing and you're not fighting against this mobilization. Now, the final step is once we are on that trigger point, we're going to use a technique called a contract relax. And as with everything I've said, it is exactly what it sounds like. So in this contract relax, what we're going to do is we're going to contract the muscle that we're on, in this case our quad. We're going to contract it for 5 seconds. I'm going to do that by extending my knee and squeezing my quad. We're going to hold that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to relax just like we did in the beginning and let that pressure dissipate into that musculature. Now, we're going to hold this relaxing phase for 30 seconds, pretend 30 seconds have gone by, and then we'll go back into our contract. So another 5-second contract, knee extended, quad tight, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 30 seconds of relaxation. Now, our system advocates for a bare minimum 3 contract relax cycles per trigger point. So once you get 3 of those contract relax cycles, we can either stay on that trigger point and keep doing that further, or we can roll through, find the next trigger point, give that spot some love as well. That is how we're going to foam roll our quads, and that's how we do it effectively. So what I want you to do, please give each of your quads 5 minutes of this. Okay, once again, you can focus on one spot, you can go all over the place, whatever is comfortable to you, but work with this technique, okay? 5 minutes each side, 10 minutes per day. And then later in the week, we will be releasing our video on stretching. That will be about our hamstring, which will also help with our hip pain. If you have any questions, please reach out. You can either reach out to me directly or visit www.getultiroll.com, where we have plenty of information and you can reach me through there. I want to thank you for all your support, and I can't wait for you to apply this. You're going to feel a lot better doing it.